Following the recent attacks in some communities in Ebonyi state of southeast Nigeria, leading to the loss of lives and property, the Nigerian Senate is asking the federal government and the Ebonyi state government to put appropriate measures in place to forestall further attacks in the state. The Senate is also asking the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to immediately intervene through the provision of relief materials to the families of the victims and displaced persons in the affected communities. A minute's silence in honor of those who lost their lives during the attacks was observed by the lawmakers. And for more on this story and other developments in the southeastern state of Ebonyi, Commissioner for Information and State Orientation, Uchnna Orji, joins us now in the studio. Thank you so much for joining us, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Let's begin with these attacks. The government seems to know more than it's telling the public, and I say this because a recent statement in the Daily today credited to the governor is exonerating the outlawed IPOB, its security network, the ESN, that's the Eastern Security Network, as well as suspected herdsmen from carrying out this attack. So, Mr. Commissioner, do we know who or what is responsible for these attacks in your state?
Well, we have a series of attacks that we have had since last month, March up to date. And we are having suspicion on some groups of people. In the case of Egedege, initially local government area where about 15 persons were gruesomely murdered and houses destroyed, the community did suspect the herdsmen, the killer herdsmen, and of course, Mr. Vice President came and visited the affected and afflicted place. And of course, they gave some pockets of evidence, to link the allegation with the herdsmen. That investigation is going on, so we would not, have anything to say than that justice must be given to the people of that community. Then we have the one of Ohaku local government area, the most recent one, where about 4 people were killed and some houses destroyed. The community woke up one morning, that was on the 12th of April, and saw all of this. And we recall that that community had been having lingering crisis, communal conflict with a community in Benue State. And that conflict had cost a lot of lives in scores, and of course, properties destroyed. And so there was a preliminary investigation that linked, given the circumstance of that action, the act to a community, Jela community in Benue State. And also security agencies are doing their bit to ensure that they unravel the actual cause. But given the circumstance of the event, the modus operandi, they had no option than to say it is Ajila community. And I can say that on the issue of the ESN that you are talking about, you did quote my boss, the governor of Ebonyi State. The truth of the matter is that criminality, no matter who is committing it, is criminality. And so anybody that is involved in committing crime, you don't link it to a race. You don't link it to an organization. A crime is a crime, no matter the place or the form. And so they are not organizations that commit crime. That's a rule of vicarious responsibility in law. Now, whoever commits a crime goes in for it. And so we wouldn't link any crime to ESN because the ESN is an organization, no matter how illegitimate it is. But what is important is that that ESN is a product of agitation.
So are you recognizing the ESN as a security outfit in Ebonyi State and the Southeast in general?
Oh, for goodness sake, we, as a state, we have the Neighborhood Watch. And on the 11th day of April 2021, the governors of the Southeast met under the leadership of our dear governor, met in Owerri. And they had to really launch the Ebubago, the glory of a tiger. Like the majesty of an empire is the safety of its protection. So we are looking at a situation whereby these very pillars will be the coordinating point for all the Southeast, security outfits. And all of the outfits will come under this platform, these pillars, to really police the various communities. So we have got no two authorities in each state. We have only one government. And every organization, whether non-governmental or whether legitimate or illegitimate, should know that we have only one government. And I can tell you that the people of Southeast are law-abiding. The only problem is that, yes, There have been years of marginalization and neglect that have understandably caused the issue of, pockets of organizations that are agitating for freedom, for attention. Okay. And I think that what we should do is to fundamentally look at the issue, the fabrics of the issue, and that is addressing the issue of marginalization, and that will normally, ordinarily reduce all of these agitations by organizations.
I just want to zoom in on the point you made that you don't necessarily want to attach by alleging that it's either herdsmen or the ESN. You don't want to attach any accusations to any group. But some would say that your governor, has been particularly reticent in coming forward in either identifying the people. I think the last statement that was queried was that he said it was reprisal killings. And some would argue, do reprisal killings give an occasion for herdsmen to go and kill people because they were killed in turn? So can you help us iron out?
I think the governor was quoted out of context. It was very clear. He did visit the very place, Egedege community, initially, the moment the thing happened. And he made his position clear that security agencies should move in and track the perpetrators. And the community fingered the herdsmen. But like I did say, it wouldn't say because somebody committed this, then you'll be mentioning the person's race. We believe that we are one Nigeria. We believe that we should de-emphasize those things that will further divide us. And so criminals, no matter where they are, we have criminals among the natives and non-natives. Among herdsmen, we know that. Among even people that profess certain organizations in the name of agitation. And so what do? We need to ensure that criminals are tracked, no matter whom they are, no matter the organization they belong. And that is the emphasis the governor has always made in all of this.
Help us situate the context of that statement, reprisal killings.
Yeah, I would say that even though I'm sure you did misquote the governor, but I would say that we'll be having pockets of misunderstandings between the herdsmen and farmers or community rural dwellers. And the government had to set up a state committee that is called the Headers Farmers Committee to always interfere. So sometimes there will be issue of misunderstanding and there will be reprisal, attack, counter-attack. It could be a very minimal, misunderstanding that will trigger a very serious, criminal act like killing and all of that. But what is important is that whoever commits any offense, whether you kill the herdsman's cow, you have to go in for it. Either you pay compensation in line with the law, or you will be punished in line with the provisions of the law. And if you commit any other crime like killing and all of that, destruction of public property, you will also go in, whether you're a herdsman. And that's the way to go. The law is made for man and not man for law. So we must address it to say, this person committed an offense, not a race, not an organization. Okay,
so talking about addressing this, is the state government equipped to put a stop to this killing and destruction? Or is it beyond the state capabilities? And I ask because the Nigerian Senate has had to weigh into this matter yesterday. Is this beyond the Ebonyi state?
Yeah, you need to appreciate, and I stand to be contradicted, that Ebonyi state, until recently, had been the safest state. Even as I speak with you, Ebonyi is safe. Ebonyi is very calm. Now what has government done? Do you know in each of the locations of the state, we have CCTV camera. And in each of the divisions and the police barracks and other security agencies, we have viewing centers where you watch out for criminalities and track them. And that is why in Ebonyi, go to IGP's record, apart from communal clash, and of course, this recent herdsmen mayhem, we don't have issues in Ebonyi State. Ebonyi State is a safe haven. Security-wise, I can tell you that Ebonyi has a form of security architecture. One is the fortification of the conventional security architecture, and another is the provision of social security. Now, today, Ebonyi State is like a construction site. Anywhere you go, you see people walking. So that's even minimal crime, I tell you, even till today, except some of this, which we are raising intelligence to know the root cause. We are beginning to think that some people are just hell-bent on ensuring that there is problem or crisis in Ebonyi State. And I know that with the way
Why would anybody want to ensure there's crisis in Ebonyi State?
Yeah, I can tell you that people are enemies of progress. The governor has really done tremendously well in Ebonyi State. And I can tell you that anybody who is envious of what the governor is doing in Ebonyi State can be mischievous. It is understandable. It is part of human existence. But what is important is that we are not suspecting anybody until we get intelligence report on all of this. But then what has government done further? After all of this has happened, the governor had to really raise more personnel in our civilian security outfit. That is the neighborhood watch. Apart from the 4,000 number neighborhood watch members, he now further raised 1,000 more. And now he's buying 140 number vehicles for all of these communities, 140 communities, to supervise the work of the civilian security outfit. And our idea is that we should give them the intelligence through training. They should also assist and collaborate with the conventional security outfits for us to police our communities.
Okay, we would like to look into some of these marvelous works you say the governor is doing that are making people envious of him. We'll come into that when we come back from this break. We're taking you on a brief break now. We'll be back to continue the conversation. Do stay with us. You're welcome back. You're watching Newsday, and we'll continue the conversation with Commissioner for Information at Ebonyi State, Uchnna Orji. Thank you for staying with us. Before we start exploring all the various conquests in Ebonyi, I just want to put to you the question that people may feel that there's a fine line between mediation and seeming to have taken sides. There were allegations of the fact that your governor seemed to be protecting the Fulani, constituents, if you like, in Ebonyi, because they said whereas other governors were rejecting Roga, he was quick to cede acres of land in Ebonyi State for Fulani settlement. So there might be a perception that he's not playing on their side. I think INC, the Igbo National Council, were holding him accountable to this.
Igbo National Council is a very faceless, non-existent, mischievous body that has never shown presence in all of these allegations. Security agencies are tracking them. They are part of the problem, but we are not going to accuse organizations until we track them. That is one. The allegation that the governor did support Ruga is most unfounded, most irresponsible, with all due respect, and we take exception to that. I can say that in all of this is that the governor, as chairman of Southeast Governors Forum, has been very, very critical on issues of herdsmen and farmers' relationship. And I can say that in Ebonyi State, he banned issue of open grazing. And we have strict rules on the operations of the herdsmen, such that the farmers are protected by virtue of the provisions of the law that we have. Now, when you talk about shielding herdsmen, it's most unfounded. But one thing you must know about the governor is that he's very, very nationalistic. He does not discriminate on the basis of where you come from. And so he's a bridge builder. And so the emphasis is that as we have herdsmen in Ebonyi State, we also have Ebonyi people in other parts of the country. And so we must treat them as legitimate, law-abiding citizens if they are. But if there are criminals among them, they must be flushed out. That is why he made the rule that all our forests must be policed and no herdsmen should be in our forest. And all the herdsmen should be profiled in the various places they are. They are not meant to move from one location to the other, or passing the highway. These are the laws, and where they fail to observe those rules, they are held accountable to it. What more do you want this kind of person to do? For you to show that he believes in oneness of our country. He believes that we have more than 11 million Igbos in the north. And if all of this program starts here and there, where are we going to land? So we need to bring the skill of arbitration, to bear for us to really solve all of this. I believe that the best way to go, which is what the governor is doing, is to bring about social security.
Okay. And talking about social security, let's talk about employment. The latest statistics from the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, that's for the last quarter of last year, shows that Ebonyi has about 40% unemployment rate. That's one of the highest in the country. What is the government doing to address this situation?
Let me be sure you are very conversant with all the issues, all the indices, all the parameters, all the yardsticks in that analysis. Mm-hmm. Now, I can tell you that in the whole of the 5 states of the Southeast, based on that analysis, Ebonyi has been singled out as the second best in terms of employment index and empowerment index. Look at the analysis.
That's in the region, not in the country.
In the region, yes.
I said in the country.
And look at, when you look at where we are coming from, in 2015, we were nowhere to be found. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you wouldn't know where was called Ebonyi State, but today Ebonyi is all over the place. Now, I can tell you that economic development is a gradual process. We have a lot of abstractions, indicators that will make you understand that something is happening. Now today, based on the MBS in the Southeast, we are coming second best out of the 5. Is a good score. Now in the education index, NUC had an index in 2017 under my governor, and said that somebody from Ebonyi State, when they did analysis on the best performing JAM by, that's a person that took JAM, that studied, took medicine and surgery in JAM, and somebody from Ebonyi came first. Now, they did an analysis about the best local government in the whole federation, 774 local government areas that has the highest number of people that gained admission. Do you know the local government that came first? A local government in Ebonyi State. When World Bank did their maternal mortality index or ratio, they now compared states, and now Ebonyi became one of the best in maternal mortality ratio. And they even said that Ebonyi is even better than that of the federal government. These are indicators. Again, we have low insecurity. Go to IGP's record. And that shows that something is happening. There is economic development. Of course, you should know the difference between economic development and economic growth.
So how many jobs have been created? All these indices and index and studies are great, but how many jobs have been created?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, our understanding and our perception on job creation is not white-collar job.
Okay.
It is, first of all, raising the capacity and deploying your capacity to the job, to your relevant area. What did we do? We had to engage the non-skilled, the semi-skilled, and the skilled labor that we have in the state, both indigenous and non-indigenous, who are resident. In all of the construction side that we have, like I told you, apart from Lagos and Abuja, we're having the highest number of flyovers. Who did this construction work? The indigenous. The money is circulated, there is no capital flight. I'm talking about job creation initiative that we have. Now, we have a lot of empowerment program to ensure that people are gainfully, employed, or people are made to have a means of livelihood. And we are looking at entrepreneurship programs, we are looking at vocational programs. And that's why the governor had to establish first of its kind school of vocational, vocational college to capture the artisans, industry, to capture the craftsmen, the technicians, and give them certification after training between 2 years, 4 years. Then they are now going to have the capacity to rule their world. And this is helping us to really capture a lot of these people that would have been out in the street. Job is being created, wealth is being created. We have so many empowerment programs. Do you know we came to Lagos here sometime in 2017 and gave Ebonyi's hawking in streets of Lagos under what we call street to skill empowerment program. We gave them 130 million. Today, 520 number of them are already cruising in prosperity. Do you know we went back and looked at our youth and women, looked at the poorest of them, and gave 750 million grant, 250,000 each for 3,000 number of youth and women. These are job creation, empowerment creation initiative of government. Now, we have what we call the international airport. This international airport, do you know who is building it? Not a foreign contractor, but the local indigenous contractors, and of course some by direct labor means. And our idea is that after creating or building this international airport, our people are going to get jobs. And so this is the process. We have a shopping mall that Mr. Bruce came and said is the best in Africa, the biggest. This shopping mall is having about 5,000 number shops. Who are going to be there? Our people, and they have started to apply for it. These are processes of ensuring, social security in Ebonyi State. Agriculture is where we're also doing fantastically well. Every year, we deploy 52,000 number youth and women into agriculture, and they are giving facility. And we are turning out like $500,000 naira per person because we're looking at one man, 1 hectare, 1 woman, 1 hectare program.
Let me just ask, what directs where you invest? And also, I guess I'm curious as well, where do you get the funds from? Because it sounds like a lot of money going into various projects. Because someone was said to do with health sector, people don't readily invest in health sector because it's not like a flyover. You have one of the most beautifully adorned flyovers in Nigeria. A flyover is visible, it broadcasts your accomplishments. But health sector tends to be neglected. So what directs where you invest your money and where do you get the funds from? Yeah,
the issue of getting the fund is the ingenuity of the governor. I wouldn't tell you, I wouldn't expose all the secrets of his performance. One is passion, one is prudence, one is non-tolerance, zero tolerance for wastages. And another is ingenuity, skill to really engage the federal government, despite the platform that he's coming from, to engage the donor agency, to engage also the development partners, even the financial institutions, to see where he can get grants. I will not expose the secret anymore. I will just leave it at this. But let me say that as I speak with you, we have a College of Medicine in the area of health that is going to be the biggest. It's about 70% completion. It's a heaven on earth. You need to see it. I hope it's showing on the screen. This College of Medicine is a center of excellence for the treatment of liver problems, cancer, heart diseases, and even heart transplant. And we're looking at having what is called Africa's first dialysis center, or that produces dialyzers. And I can tell you that by the time this is completed...
You obviously have a lot to say about what your government has done so far, but that's the much we can take. Thank you so much for coming on Newsday. I wish you the best.
Thank you so much.